Trinity Railway Express, or TRE, is the heavy commuter rail service linking Dallas, Irving, and Fort Worth, Texas. In Fort Worth, it serves both the historic Texas and Pacific passenger station, as well as the modern intermodal Fort Worth Central Station. A cross-platform transfer from Amtrak to TRE is possible in both downtown Dallas and Fort Worth, with the two agencies both utilizing a historic Rock Island Railroad right-of-way. It's got good frequency for an American commuter service, especially one so far from the coast. Trains run half-hourly on weekdays during peak hours and hourly thereafter on a fairly wide time frame. Such is not surprising, being that it's a great way to connect with DFW Airport. Bypassing most of the highway traffic along the dozens of miles between the two downtowns. It also brings Irving, Texas, a formidably sized suburb in the metroplex, into the transit plan.
Este tren se dirige al este, hacia la estación EVJ Union Station.
Though the suburban connections, as well as some of Dallas's transit plan over the past decade, may be in a pattern of shifting service to alternate forms of commuting. We'll delve into the microtransit of DFW in an eventual video on this channel, but for today we're riding the train that has been a backbone of getting around Dallas-Fort Worth without a vehicle for almost 30 years.
The next station is Fort Worth Central.
TRE began operations in late 1996 as a cooperative venture of DART in Dallas and Trinity Metro in Fort Worth, the public transit agencies of both those cities. The first year of service saw Amtrak diesel locomotives and Amfleet 1 coach cars hauling commuters through Dallas County. They would be replaced with Bud diesel rail cars from Via Rail in Canada as the service saw success with its suburban and airport stations. Communities from Irving westward further increased demand on the service for their downtown commuting needs. As park and rides became established toward Fort Worth, it was in these early years that Dallas was continuing to plan an expansion of its LRT network. And commuters benefited from the alternative to traffic-laden freeway commutes downtown, while also increasing the connections beyond Dallas one could make without a car.
The next station is Trinity Lakes. La siguiente estación es Trinity Lakes.
Along with sporting and other special events, as well as the Texas State Fair, TRE carved itself into a niche, handling commuters as well as tourists when the service fully expanded to Fort Worth in its first decade. And these multi-level cars purchased from Ontario's GO Transit over 2 decades ago are venerable choices for a well-utilized rail offering. The staying power of the service remains despite a number of new highway projects taking shape around and mostly over the rail route in the past decade. That demand for the train remains over the years is telling regarding how big an American metroplex has to be in order to sustain funding commuter rail these days. In the case of Dallas-Fort Worth, it's in the distance between the major cities and the buildup of industries around the region that have necessitated an option beyond driving, in a state where personal vehicles are the norm.
La siguiente estación es Trinity Lakes.
As we go along, you won't initially see a whole lot of frequent last-mile transit options along this corridor, outside of Irving and some loop bus routes to businesses around stations. And even once in Dallas, choices for public transit exist in a range from functionally minimal to oddly advised. Despite the longevity of this service, it has primarily served, as most Middle American public transit does, to get suburbanites downtown for work or events, but not to change minds about vehicle dependency.
La siguiente estación es Trinity Lakes.
Suburbs in America rarely take the leap of maintaining a foundation of conveniently timed commuting options other than vehicles during off-peak hours, like the Monday afternoon which we took TRE. Plenty of folks were exchanged at each station, in Irving as well as the park and rides, on and off our train on this early afternoon run.
Lo desatendido o comportamiento sospechoso del personal de Trinity Railway Express.
Given that Texas has a much longer record of ridership year-round than most non-coastal American cities, Herzog Transportation has seen success in this and its TexRail service between Fort Worth and DFW Airport. A further project by DART will establish the Silver Line corridor between the airport and Plano, Texas, in a rare display of cross-town connection by passenger rail. The options for where one can go with Dallas or Fort Worth as a starting point and no car with which to get there is still far from a complete list. In the current economic and political climate, the survival of TRE long-term is a bit more experienced from its years of operation and the massive levels of sprawl that DFW is experiencing. Communities along the line like Irving are further examples of how a commuter rail system can boost the mobility of cities as they grow. At nearly 250,000 residents, Irving has benefited from this train, providing a link to Dallas for its economic growth. While it may be some time before further expansion of passenger rail and restoration of prior rail services in Texas and much of America is undertaken, we can see in TRE what good frequency does for commuter rail in North America.
Market Center. Trinity Station. La siguiente estación es Victory Station.
We got off the train at Victory Station, the penultimate stop prior to Dallas EBJ Union Station. Next, it's back on board a light rail system that I rode 2 years ago when it was in very rough shape. How will DART treat us today? We'll find out in a couple of weeks. Until then, Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.